Many of you likely recognize this LEGO set, the Rebel Trooper Battle Pack themed around the Battle of Hoth, but slightly less well known is that this speeder here is pretty clearly based on an obscure background vehicle in The Empire Strikes Back that actually was present at the Battle of Hoth. We have pretty spotty reference material for this vehicle, as it's really only featured in the deep background or tucked into the corner of the frame or in tight promotional stills that hardly feature it at all. Even the Star Wars Blueprints book doesn't really reflect the final vehicle in the film. So what I decided to do was to take every available reference and compile it into one 3D recreation so that we can get one thing to look at to get a sense of what this vehicle looks like. So I built a 3D recreation of the vehicle where I try my best to interpolate the unknown details. So until we have better reference, here's a fairly well-researched look at the Rebel Cannon Sled, as it was referred to by the Empire Strikes Back art department. We can see that the cannon sled is not a repulsor craft as suggested in the lore, but is actually on skis. And this is because the full-scale prop for the film was built around the cargo sled of a snow track, which were the Caterpillar transports used extensively by the Empire Strikes Back production crew while filming the Hoth scenes in Norway. You can see these cargo sleds being used all over the production, with the same recognizable articulated skis. And the final vehicle even retains the triangular trailer frame where you'd hitch it to the snow track transport. From this little eyelet, they'd attach a cable and tow the sled from off-screen to give the illusion that the vehicle was moving under its own power. It's a pretty good idea actually, but unfortunately, despite all of that effort, these cannon sleds were never seen moving in the actual film. Unfortunately, it would seem that these neat little vehicles were the victims of the tight, gripping editing of the Battle of Hoth, but it's nice that they appear at all. In Legends lore, this vehicle was known as a laser ice cutter, with the implications that these things were responsible for boring out the seemingly laser-cut tunnels in Echo Base. Of course, we never saw them employed in that role in the film. I mean, we barely saw them in the first place, but they were deployed at the Battle of Hoth as combat vehicles, which, if they were used as ice cutters, implies that they were improvised by the rebellion for one role or the other. But that's really just Legends. To me, it seems like they're meant to be more akin to World War II era tank destroyer vehicles, which were, like the cannon sled, often fairly light, open-top vehicles with anti-armor weaponry, meant for, of course, outmaneuvering and destroying tanks. And that would explain their presence at the Battle of Hoth rather splendidly. Granted, I think that the rebels might have slightly underestimated how invulnerable AT-ATs were. These cannon sleds are likely a lot more effective against more tank-sized targets like AT-STs and K-79s. Anyway, I just thought it would be fun to shed some light on this underappreciated hero of the Battle of Hoth. It's a really interesting little detail that has been there since the very beginning, and it deserves a little more recognition. And with that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.